Welcome back. I'm Tyler, you're watching Scarfing Scarves, and welcome to the 67th installment of Last Week Lolita News. At the top of the segment, Angelic Pretty's dreamy perfume remains near fully in stock. This is due entirely to the fact that Baby mauled their face off with Kumya's sweet ice cream, and I will accept no other explanations for why this gorgeous print was left to molder in obscurity. Feral bunny bear attacks are the only thing that makes sense to me, and I suggest AP carry the appropriate bear mace next time before dropping a fantastic release in the middle of grizzly country. Aim for those species-confused eyes, and shout out to all the ice cream print fanatics who will be crying blood if God decides to drop AP's ice cream parlor the very next week. I'd consider it cosmic justice for the absolute disrespect of leaving this work of art fully in stock. For shame. Speaking of things that should inspire deep regret, Alice and the Pirates have come out of the gate with a nightmarish jumpsuit complete with a mini top hat, and I don't know whether the hair design is the result of a one-night stand with Pippi Longstocking or if the model's head is desperately trying to escape her body. I'd certainly want to levitate away from any outfit that turns every bathroom trip into a mandatory strip show atop questionably clean tile. God help you if you decide to go blouseless. And anyone who doesn't see a problem with it has obviously never had their door kicked in by some drunken Karen too hopped up on hashtag YOLO to show basic restraint. Yes, I locked it. No, that did not stop the brute strength of a soused 40-something post several children with the bladder control of a fiercely shaken chihuahua. While we're on the subject of inappropriate alcohol consumption, BTSSB's new release looks like an aesthetic car crash. One can only presume the designers drank themselves into a stupor before getting behind the wheel. And if the model's expression is anything to go by, I'm presuming that she was in the back seat and is 50% regretting that she survived to wear this outfit. It should be noted that this series goes by the name My Sweet Baby. I would personally recommend abortion. And now that 20% of you have looked up from your dishes upon hearing that word, let me reassure you that we're only talking about a dress. Tune in next week for my list of people who should have landed on the back of their mother's head. My apologies for the gagging, and transitioning away from the sudden trauma, Angelic Pretty has released new pictures of their 2020 spring-summer releases. I actually don't hate Neon Star Diner's JSK. Scum Castle looks about the same. And I'm even more on board to cut a bitch over Ice Cream Parlor. BTSSB, eat your heart out. You can shove that species-confused bear where the sun doesn't shine. Now, is that a little aggressive? Yes! Am I still salty over Baby robbing romantic perfume? Yes! Seriously though, this print is going to be the type of bloodbath we haven't seen since Toy Doll Box. I'm also looking forward to Rose Tea Garden. Horoscope Carnival looks nice and navy, the berry prints look like berry prints, and all in all, we're looking at a really strong spring-summer AP season. Thanks Zool, not a single lovely bathroom-style abortion in sight. Meanwhile, as that about wraps up the week, the community has managed to behave themselves on Facebook, and it's that time of year when people receive heart-shaped boxes full of questionable confections. I thought I'd honor the spirit of Valentine's Day by not being a spiteful harpy for all of 5 seconds. We're going to talk about nice things instead. And welcome to Cute Things Lolitas Do, otherwise known as a list of things intended to pull this community out of its cultivated bitterness, at least temporarily, and or long enough to experience something other than panic and disgust. Meaning, yes, I have seen the Reddit hubbub. No, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I would like to keep my lunch down, thank you very much. And without further ado, I present to you thing number 1 that makes Lolitas fracking adorable. They find each other's dream dresses. Otherwise known as the phenomenon where one Lolita will hear of another Lolita search for the dress they want most in the world and find it for them out of the simple kindness of their own heart. Dream dresses are such a large part of EGL culture. The idea that a sister in frills would take time out of their own search to help a fellow Lolita find theirs is just the most heartwarming expression of camaraderie. It's such a sweet gesture of the mutual endeavor to find and collect these things we love. And sharing in that sentiment with people we otherwise might not know from Eve is something truly special about Lolita fashion. Mind you, the same Good Samaritan would metaphorically gouge your eyes out to win a lace market auction if you happen to be hunting for the same dress, but it's best not to think about that and pretend your newfound friend doesn't have 10 plans to end your existence in questionable ways. Which brings us to thing number 2 that makes me want to hug this rabid salt trap, otherwise known as a fashion community, the way Lolitas fix each other's waist ties. I've also seen it at every single event or outing I've ever been to, and nothing says aesthetic solidarity to me quite like watching a bunch of flouncy princesses bouncing back and forth to make sure everyone looks their best. Sure, they'll cut you if you're wearing Crocs, but they'll first make sure you look really nice at your funeral. In all seriousness, I feel like this type of social fussing is something that a lot of us left behind in our childhoods, and seeing people reclaim little gestures like these really solidifies the feeling of community we experience as part of this fashion. Same goes for people who turn others' necklaces around so that they're facing right side up and or speak up when they they see petticoats escaping their skirt like that shit's on fire. And while we're talking about group maintenance, thing number 3 that makes me want to throttle the lot of you with affection, the third cute thing that Lolitas do is travel in flocks. Whether that be at meetups or conventions, watching frilly people who otherwise may not have known each other seconds before come together like fracking magnets is the most adorable thing since fracking puppies. I've had several conventions that will start out with just me and one other person and end with us having picked up some 5 other frillies just out of sheer aesthetic pull. We will spend the entire day traveling around the dealer's hall in a pack, and then we will disperse at the end of the con like nothing happened and our sudden convergence wasn't the least bit strange. It's something I've come to practically expect, and meetups are even better given that nothing beats traveling in unison like some kind of sweets-obsessed geese migrating towards the bubble tea for winter. Sure, that sentence doesn't make sense. I refuse to apologize, but I have to say the whole concept of meetups is something really adorable about the Lolita community as a whole. The fact that Lolitas have this embedded tradition of gathering in mass for the sheer pleasure of being cute together is entirely precious. And staying in the middle of the pack can help protect you from curious locals, not unlike emperor penguins huddled against the Arctic wind. Frack knows it definitely feels like 2 months waiting for everyone to show up on time. Which opens the door to the fourth thing Lolitas do that gives this reporter the warm fuzzies. Lolitas have fracking tea parties. It's easy for several years in the fashion to make such events feel run-of-the-mill, but I want you to take a moment and really think about that. Take yourself back to a time when you were a newbie Lolita, when your dream dresses far outnumbered the contents of your closet, and the EGL community felt like a secret society just waiting for you to make your entrance. Do you remember how excited you were to attend your first Lolita tea? I don't think a lot of you remember how gobsmackingly rare it is to meet up to have expensive leaf water with strangers while dressed like a pre-execution Queen of Scots. Such events are usually reserved for 5-year-olds or their 50-year-old counterparts with obnoxiously red hats. And the Lolita tea is always the highlight of our events because we're all just ferrets in frilly dresses, we like shiny things, and even better if we can be bougie together. Not unrelated, and turning towards the fifth and final thing Lolitas do that make me forget that this community drives me to drink on a regular basis, the fifth cutest thing is that Lolitas like to nest. This phenomenon is known as this fashion's tendency to decorate their room and or house to match their frilly aesthetic. It's incredibly common, and anyone who thinks that a community full of tiny brand-obsessed birds lining their nest with the things they love isn't hecking adorable is welcome to fight me barehanded in a Daiso parking lot. The way the magic of this fashion spills over into the wearers' daily lives is peak endearing. And for all the ways this community makes me question my commitment to sanity, those little touches of whimsy and cuteness always take me back to the very start, back to the days when everything was new and exciting, and it reminds me to appreciate the here and now. To rekindle my love and excitement for the amazing thing that is Lolita fashion, and to appreciate my comrades in frills for the diverse and passionate set of people that makes this fashion community what it is. I'm sure I'll want to throttle one of you tomorrow, but for now, I appreciate you for existing. Have a happy Valentine's Day from me to you. This is the last day I'll play nice for at least the next 365. Check back next week to watch me find a new way to verbally assault someone. Because that's all the time we have for tonight. This has been Tyler. You've been watching Scarfing Scarves. And before you go off to wonder if you clicked on lovely lore by accident, I'd like to thank my patrons for being the ironclad force behind this abuse of the English language. You guys are the reason I can deal with this community without beating my computer against a wall. And should you like to join their ranks, you can head over to patreon.com/lastweeklolitanews to hang out with people who are committed to seeing this reporter release things that should be classified as cruel and unusual punishment. I recommend you get decently drunk beforehand. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks Lwln, not a single lovely bathroom-style abortion in sight. That was 2 abortions for 1 episode. We're doing good. It makes me think of the Prefnat video. Will sex hurt baby top of his head? Ba 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 ba-rang, ba ba-rang, ba 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 ba-rang, ba ba-rang. You know, I used to think that song was Ba Barang. It's Barbara Ann. They're saying ba 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 Baran. But you see, I sang it Ba Barang since I was like, 5. And here we are today. They find each other's dream dresses. I don't know why, I paced it that way.